Join our celebrities in celebrating STV's favourite programmes as voted for by you.
And I'm sure every time they came on screen, the Royal Scottish Country Dance Society had an absolute fit.
I hated club reps. I hated Baz, Maz, Waz, Daz, and all the other people with names ending in Z.
Give me a girl as an impressionable age. She's made for life.
STV's Top 30 Best Loved Shows, next Saturday at 4:45, followed by an episode of the winning programme, STV's favourite.
I've been seeing really weird stuff.
You must believe, Luke.
They exist.
The struggle between human and inhuman. Us and them.
Welcome to the Dark Ages. New blood. Terrifying.
Your daddy's name was Van Helsing.
If they know us, become quiet.
It's not entirely safe.
They're on to you. They know where you live.
I don't want any of this, but I don't have a choice.
I mean, I don't know why you just didn't let him kill me.
What do you think will happen? We're gonna drown.
Demons, next Saturday at 7:20 on STV. We're on STV before the Art of War at 11:05, the weekend news.
Israel's deadly strike on Hamas. More than 200 killed in a wave of bombings in Gaza. Hundreds of others were injured in a series of air attacks on Hamas positions. Hamas says many of the dead are women and children. Tonight, more violence is threatened after the bloodiest day in the region for years. Also on the programme, farewell to an old friend on the high street. Woolworths begins closing its doors for the final time.
Please, I don't know who else is surviving.
I know, ma'am. Just stay on the phone with me, okay?
My whole family, there's 30 people, 25 people.
I know.
A survivor's desperate emergency call as a gunman dressed as Santa begins his killing spree. And a smash and grab goal for Celtic, but was it enough to beat their old firm rivals? Good evening. World leaders are pleading for an end to the violence in Gaza that has killed at least 225 people on the deadliest day in the Middle East for decades. Another 200 are thought to have been injured after Israeli fighter jets repeatedly struck Hamas targets on the Gaza Strip. Israel says it was in response to recent rocket attacks from Palestinian militants and added it is prepared to continue its assault. Hamas retaliated with yet more rocket fire, killing one Israeli, leading to fears that the situation could escalate even further. Lucy Manning has the latest.
They ran from the Israeli airstrikes. The Palestinians called this day Massacre of the Black Saturday. What passed for peace in this region has been crushed beneath the rubble, the twisted metal and the mounting casualties. There was panic as Israeli planes bombed targets in the Gaza Strip, the injured taken to the hospitals. Many just carried in. The Israelis say they're hitting security compounds and militant targets in these Hamas-controlled areas, but it's caused the biggest death toll here in decades. Palestinian medics counting more than 200 bodies.
Many of them are civilians, children, women, those who were around the targeted places.
Reports say at least 30 security compounds were destroyed. Hamas called on all its fighters to avenge these deaths. Gaza's streets are full of blood and body parts and martyrs, said the Hamas leader, describing it as an ugly massacre. There was a truce here just days ago. Now it looks like war. The Israelis released this cockpit footage of the most deadly airstrikes ever seen in Gaza. The target, they claim, a rocket launcher hidden in a residential area. The rocket fires but fails. Israel says it's responding to constant rocket attacks from Gaza. Another Israeli was killed today in a strike on his house, and a synagogue was hit. Israel's desire for quiet, said its Prime Minister, had been met by terror.
It may take some time, and all of us are prepared to carry the burden and the pains that are inseparable part of this situation.
Israel insisting no country would put up with rocket attacks on its civilians.
In a day, about 80 missiles and mortars were fired against Israeli civilians. Enough is enough.
In one of the damaged apartments, candles were ready for a Jewish festival celebrating miracles. It will take one to stop more grief. There's a time for calm, said the Israeli Defence Minister, but now is the time for fighting. Lucy Manning, ITV News.
Well, earlier I spoke to CNN correspondent Paula Hancock in Jerusalem and first asked her why Israel had acted now and with such force.
Well, Israel saying that it was just sick and tired of the rockets that Hamas and Palestinian militant groups were firing from Gaza into neighbouring Israeli towns. And certainly they say that enough is enough. Last week we've seen an increase in the number of rockets, and of course the truce expired between Israel and the Palestinian militant groups. But the scale of this operation, I think, has taken everybody by surprise. This is unprecedented. The number of airstrikes, around about 50, according to the Israeli Defence Minister, in just a matter of hours. The length of these airstrikes, the fact that they're not over yet. We've been told by Israeli Defence Minister that this operation is ongoing, and that has taken everyone by surprise. And of course, for those on the ground in Gaza, it has been devastating. While sources in Gaza are saying they haven't seen such devastation like this from an Israeli airstrike in years.
And do you think any amount of outside pressure will prevent this situation from escalating?
To be honest, it hasn't in the past, so I don't see why it would this particular time. And if you listen carefully to what many of the leaders of Western governments have been saying, they're not asking for Israel to stop these airstrikes outright. Israel's saying it needs these airstrikes to try and stop the rocket fire. They're asking Israel to show restraint. And so certainly we don't believe that Israel will take much notice of what these governments are saying at this point, because it is trying to change public opinion that it needs to do these airstrikes. But public opinion is not going to change its military strategy. Steve?
CNN's Paula Hancock in Jerusalem. It was a day of violence in Iraq today. At least 20 people were killed and 50 others injured by a car bomb in Baghdad. Police say women and children were among the dead at a busy square containing a bus and taxi station not far from a major Shiite mosque. It was the end for 200 Woolworths stores as they shut their doors for the very last time tonight. Another 600 will also close for the final time in the next few days if a buyer can't be found. And that'll mean the loss of 27,000 jobs, the biggest single loss of this recession. Damon Green watched the shutters come down at one of those shops.
It was the night the lights went out for the last time on a British institution. The end of the day when the corpse of Woolworths was picked bare, the shoppers showing no mercy. A camera in store captured the frenzied last hours of a high street icon when the buyers came with bin bags, determined to leave nothing behind. The aisles stripped and bare, even the furniture and fittings up for grabs. The staff will be looking for work on Monday morning, needing a hug to get them through a day of carnage. But for some, it was a bonanza.
I simply see over £100 in here. Yeah, it's a lot, you know, you can't see all of it. And look at whole, for instance, look at whole bag of sweets. All that. Yeah, pick a mix. All of that.
Oh. That's Woolworths, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm gonna miss it, Woolworths. I'm gonna miss you, darling.
Even so, for those who've grown up with Woolworths not just as a shop, but as an emblem of Britain, the scrum of bargain hunters at a store about to shut forever was a chilling sight.
It feels sad. It doesn't feel like Britain. It feels like somewhere far, far away. Even the fixtures are for sale, you know, like the shelves are for sale. And that to me feels really tragic.
200 stores shut their doors for the final time tonight in the first wave of closures. The remaining 607 will close for business between the end of the year and January the 5th. 300 of these stores could yet be sold to other retailers. Even now, there are reports 125 of the more successful ones could be saved under the Woolworths name.
I think Woolies was faced with a large amount of space that it had collected in the 50s, 60s and 70s, and it really didn't know what to do with it. And so it's spent the last 20, 30 years just trying to find a reason to exist, and it's failed.
So Woolworths is gone. The bitter irony is, if they'd been as busy every day as they have today, it might never have had to close at all. Damon Green, ITV News in West London.
5 leading bishops have given a damning assessment of Labour's record in power, branding the government morally corrupt. Interviewed in the Sunday Telegraph, the Bishop of Manchester, seen here, and the bishops of Durham, Winchester, Carlisle and Hume accuse ministers of squandering their opportunity to transform society and pursuing scandalous policies instead. Police have issued a description of the man they want to question after a nurse was found in the boot of her own car 11 days after she went missing. They say Magdalene Macola knew the suspect. He's described as a black male with dreadlocks aged between 20 and 40. And lottery operator Camelot has apologised to punters after a computer glitch left thousands of players around the country unable to buy tickets. A spokesman blamed the problem on their ticket and internet network, but added that it's now fixed. Police in America have released the harrowing recording of an emergency phone call made as a man dressed in a Father Christmas costume went on a shooting spree. As Bruce Pardo went on the rampage at his ex-wife's family party, killing at least 9 people, one relative who escaped the carnage is heard desperately pleading for help. From the United States, Rohit Khatri reports.
Please, I don't know who else is alive.
I know, ma'am. Just stay on the phone with me, okay?
My whole family, there's 30 people, 25 people.
I know.
The woman begging the emergency services for help has escaped the shooting spree.
A shotgun. He came in. We all ducked. He came in through the entrance of the door, and there's a Santa Claus suit, and I didn't see from when he shot. I heard the shots, and there were like poppers, and I wasn't sure what it was, so everyone started panicking and running, so we all dove under the...
She is with her 8-year-old daughter, who raced to answer the door believing Santa had arrived and was shot in the face.
My daughter has been shot. She was shot in the face on the side and she's bleeding.
The gunman was Bruce Pardo, embittered by the terms of his recent divorce and determined to wipe out his wife's family as they gathered for Christmas Eve. His victims thought he was carrying gifts. Instead, he held handguns and this crude device to spray petrol everywhere. Pardo himself suffered severe burns in the inferno, and investigators now believe that forced him to abandon his escape plan. Because not only have they found his Santa suit dumped in a car and filled with explosives, they've also discovered an airline ticket to Canada in his pocket and $17,000 wrapped to his leg. Police conclude that the pain of his wounds, rather than the guilt of his deeds, drove him not to take the flight and to take his life instead. Rohit Khatri, ITV News in the United States.
In today's football, Celtic gave themselves a commanding lead at the top of the Scottish Premier League with a win against fierce rivals Rangers in the Old Firm derby. And it was a moment of brilliance that decided it. John Gilbert watched the action.
Time! Celtic hadn't won at Ibrox in 3 years, and with just 4 points separating them, the season of goodwill ended here. The home side had the best of the first half. Martyn Davies testing Boric early on, but sending the rebound wide. 10 minutes later, Rangers had the ball in the Celtic net, but Boric was judged to have been fouled, and the half ended goalless. Within seconds of the restart, Rangers' top scorer Chris Boyd, with 18 goals to his name this season, was clean through, but he fluffed his lines, and that would prove costly. Because 10 minutes later, Scott McDonald for Celtic turned on a festive sixpence to fire the visitors ahead. His movement exquisite, but the defending more flat-foot than broad-foot. Rangers failed to find a reply, and Samaras should have put it beyond doubt. But Celtic hung on for a famous 1-0 victory. Gordon Strachan's team now 7 points clear at the top of the SPL, and a bitter Christmas blow for Rangers' title hopes. John Gilbert, ITV News.
And that is it for tonight. There are updates throughout the night, and I'll be back with all our bulletins tomorrow, starting at 20 to 2. Until then, have a good evening.
Though the skies are filled with clouds, Sheila's wheels will do you proud. Where the skies are grey or blue, our car insurance covers you.
Hello, good evening. Well, these areas of cloud were pretty unwelcome today. Not just cold, as it was everywhere, but grey in the north and east. Mind you, the cloud is a good thing at night. It helps to keep the temperatures a fraction higher. It's still going to be a cold night for everyone, but where the cloud lingers, you might just escape a frost. Whereas where the skies are clearer, temperatures down around -1, -2. So a widespread frost, especially for central and western parts tonight. And then tomorrow, a similar day to today. It's still mostly dry, but still cloudy for some. The north and east has cloud just thick enough to produce some drizzly spots of rain up there, but most places are dry. The sunshine at its brightest in the south and west, but even in the sunshine it is going to be another very, very cold day. Temperatures typically around 3 or 4 for most of us, and staying that way.
Where the skies are grey or blue, Sheila's wheels can cover you.
Demons starts next Saturday at 7:20 on STV.
Change your outlook with your local airline. Flybe, sponsors of STV Weather.
A mix of clear spells and patchy low cloud is expected across the region tonight, with the thickest of the cloud likely in the east. A widespread frost will develop, with temperatures dipping to -3 Celsius in some parts by the morning. The west will continue to see the best of the weather tomorrow morning, with some sunshine developing. Eastern parts are set to hold on to more in the way of cloud. It will remain dry and settled across the region into the afternoon, with further bright sunshine to come, especially in the west. Temperatures look set to remain cold though, with highs of just 5 Celsius. That's a degree or 2 below the seasonal average. Moving on to the outlook, and high pressure will be anchored to the northeast of the country on Monday, bringing a cold feed of southeasterly winds across the region. Low cloud will continue to filter into eastern parts at times, whilst brighter skies are on the cards towards the west. As we head into Tuesday, most places can expect a brighter and sunnier day. But after a frosty start, temperatures will struggle again, reaching just 2 or 3 degrees Celsius.
Change your outlook with your local airline. Flybe, sponsors of STV Weather.